All right, Shalom. I want to give all praises unto Yahweh, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Blessings and salutations unto the elect of Yasha, which consists of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And blessings and salutations unto the Akim out there enduring his truth across the four corners of the earth, teaching and preaching through the spirit of Yahweh, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, in truth and sincerity, as well as the men and women that follow, and those who might look like the other nations, but are of the nation of Israel on your father's side by blood. And I wanted to get into a lesson dealing with an article I ran across. Now, the article really don't, the title of the article seemed like a little bit like clickbait a little bit or something. But it does have good information within the article just dealing with the different generations of workers, but workers overall, really. And at the end of the day, as most people, all right, it's just everybody's just worn out, man. Everybody's just worn out. They tired mentally, physically, emotionally, socially, so on and so forth, man. All right, and it just comes with this system that has been set up. This is pretty much a system of oppression. Not only is our nation being oppressed, but this man is oppressing his own nation. All right, you got Edomites who also is in the same mindset as majority of our people. All right, so. And it also, as well, when it comes to the MOTP and the plans that he had for the NWO in the near future, that applies to his own people as well, except for the somewhat handful that matters, the rich elite, so to speak. Okay, but the lower class, the ones that got their 9 to 5s or, making, 50, 60,000 a year, or whatever, they hurting. This supposed to be their kingdom and they hurting. They going through what we going through. All right. This is our punishment. We understand through the spirit of Yahweh BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, we keep pushing it and going, man. All right. Until it's over, doing the Lord's work, and then we gotta work, to eat, for lack of better words. But let me get into this article. Now, the title of it is from studyfinds.com, and the title of it says 74% of employees surveyed admit currently living paycheck to paycheck. Now, I don't know if they just decided to pick a nice title for people to click on or not, or if they had one connected to this. But when you go within this article, it speaks the reason why people are burnt out pretty much. Are just tired and ready to leave their job and don't feel like doing this and don't feel appreciated. It's just so much going on. And at the end of the day, because, man, the brother was just talking about this, the other day, is just how companies really don't appreciate their employees. And because at the end of the day, they'll just replace you. You can bring some good to the table, but if you ain't at their table, they'll just replace you. You ain't in their buddy circle, they don't mind just replacing you. All right. But it says 73% of Gen Z and 70% of millennials are looking to change jobs compared to only 33% of baby boomers, highlighting a significant generation divide in work satisfaction. Nearly 3 in 4 workers are living paycheck to paycheck. Okay, that was the part maybe. It says burnout affects 68% of Gen Z workers, but only 30% of boomers, with monotonous work and stagnant pay. Stagnant pay cited at the top factors contributing to workplace exhaustion. Most workers want better pay, 58% of them do. Flexible work arrangements and policies limiting after-work communication. Like, don't call me if I ain't at work. Don't call me. If I ain't supposed to be working, don't call me. To improve their job satisfaction and reduce burnouts. Yeah, somebody didn't show up. They call you, come in, replace this person. Can you come in? Look, this is my off day. Let me enjoy my off day pretty much. All right, I'm not going to get too much into all of the percentages. I'll leave the link in the description if you want to go and read the percentages, because I really want to focus on key points within the article, just dealing to the reason behind people being burnt out. All right. It says workers cite job autonomy as their primary burnout trigger. Pretty much just doing the same thing over and over and over. People pretty much are getting bored with their jobs. Okay. It says many are frustrated by increased job expectations without corresponding pay raises, and an equal number feel their work goes unappreciated. And that's a beautiful point just within that, because actually I left my last job a few years back because I wanted a certain position, and it just seemed like they wasn't willing to give it to an actual good worker. Like they say, it comes down to kind of not what you know, but who you know, in a sense. Which at times that's a hit or miss. All right. Some guy can be able to be in that position that had no reason to actually be good for the company. But for the most part, they look out for their own. All right. They look out who they feel as best, and not who's actually how do I want to put it? Proper, so to speak, for that fit. Like, I didn't been around certain supervisors, and I'm like, I don't even know how you're a supervisor, but I can do your job better than you. All right. But like it says, it's their job want them to do more, but they ain't giving them more pay. All right. And that's why a lot of people are feeling unappreciated. I wanted to grab this precept. So this is Wisdom of Solomon 6:24. It says, but the multitude of the wise is the welfare of the world, and a wise king is the upholding of the people. And that's what it is. If like you understand that you need happy workers, and if you have happy workers, then you'll have a happy society. It could possibly decrease violence and drug use and so on and so forth. But no, this man likes things chaotic. And that's why it says the multitude of the wise is the welfare of the world. Let's get this word welfare real quick. It says a condition of being or doing well. Get along. It goes back to being fair. And it says journey, road, passage, expedition. Fair as a verb. Let's see. Set forth, go, travel, wander, make one's way, be, happen, exist. Let's get the regular definition of it. This is the AI overview. It says welfare refers to both the general state of well-being and prosperity, and specifically to government-provided aid for those in need. And that's what it is at the end of the day. I mean, they have these little programs, right? But when it speaks about the wise, the multitude of the wise being the welfare of the world, it means at the end of the day, it's being just, being fair. Okay, what's proper for those certain moments? Because also within the conversation that me and the brother was having is Esau don't know how to judge. And it also came up on the highways again today. They judge how they want to judge. All right. They can have one of their people, an Edomite, do the same thing as a Jake. And because he's a Jake, they'll throw him under the jail, man. All right. When it's like he did this, so this should happen to him is just as well. But because he got a certain amount of money and he can hire, and that's that. And now it goes into that whole game. All right. Now we get to playing around with words and numbers, and he said, she said, and this, and prove this, and can't. And it's just a cluster, F word of chaos, man. And that's why the scriptures say when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, which we'll get here in a second. But it says companies can act now by offering more flexible work arrangements or setting clear boundaries around after hours communication. So it's telling them to be proactive within this situation before people start to lose it, but really leave the job. Now you got more people that got to replace. Now you're behind on this company. And now you're behind as a company. And now you pressure and pushing everybody to do more than, and it goes back up to the first situation. You're expecting them to do more than what they're supposed to do, and you ain't trying to get them no more pay. It says the biggest threats to workplace culture: stress among colleagues, rigid work environments, generally negativity, and widespread company burnouts. This toxicity directly impacts productivity, with over a third of burned out workers now doing only what's explicitly required rather than going above and beyond. And I've noticed this at my job, right? There's a lot of people that's like, man, I'm only going to do my job. Well, that ain't my job. That's his job. And I'll be honest, I did the same thing, because here it is. I was going above and beyond. And it's not like, oh, well, y'all don't appreciate it. No, it was so much confusion and chaos within it because everybody else don't care. It's like, well, I'm just gonna stay in my lane, right? I'm gonna just stay in my lane, and y'all can figure that out. Because I've tried to extend my hand. I've tried to help out and keep things moving. But if y'all don't care, then I'm not about to burn myself out or be stressed out about what y'all Supervisors come in, they should be communicating. Why ain't y'all communicating so y'all can know what's going on and we can get started, or so on and so forth, But that's why it's like, nah, I'm not about to be burning myself out for y'all to, just do. Y'all come in with the same mindset. We all want to go home and none of us want to be here, right? But if you got everybody saying F it, that's the environment you're going to have. It says overwhelming workload, pressure to hit targets, and being expected to stay connected outside normal hours. Job security is also a factor, and that's what it is, Like I said, pressure to hit targets, all right? You're not treating people fairly, so people come into the job shrugging their shoulders, huh? So I'm just here to get my money and get on out of here. They're not really putting a good effort into a job. And then the ones who are willing to put a good effort into the job, you treat them unfairly. But buddies that you cool with, they barely do anything, but they have more job security than the one that's actually a good worker. All right? That's just the backwards ness in this society, man. Okay? It says when asked what would improve their situation, it says better pay top the list. To combat burnout specifically, workers want flexible work arrangements and policies prohibiting after-hour communication, which that part keep coming up. Don't call me. Don't talk to me after I've got off work. If I didn't mess nothing up, talk to me during work hours when I'm getting paid, pretty much. And it's crazy because I seen a little skit about that, and I didn't know people was really getting into, feeling like that. All right. It says, with so many employees under pressure, so critical for organizations to invest in technology, not to replace their workforce, but to empower them. Let me read that again. It says, with so many employees under pressure, it's critical for organizations to invest in technology, not to replace their workforce. Oh, I definitely had to get this part on there, because it's saying get more machines, not get technology, not to replace your workers, but to empower them, to make them do their job better. Well, that's what's going on in this society at this very moment. All right, is they're bringing in more robots and bringing in these humanoid robots and trying to perfect these robots. And at the end of the day, they're going to replace you. They ain't gonna need no truck drivers. They got self-driving trucks. All right. Eventually, they'll have a robot, a self-driving car, which they already got self-driving, Uber type cars or taxis, whatever you want to call them. All right. So they'll have a robot in there that's gonna be delivering you packages or whatever. There's gonna be so many things. Once they can do what you can do, and they're not doing all this complaining, they're not being burnt out, then what do you think? You're gonna be obsolete. You really ain't gonna have no defining argument then, and they ain't gonna care because they replace your ass. Now, whatever jobs can't be replaced by humans, and those humans will have those jobs. But if you look at it, a lot of jobs, you can be replaced. That's why they're trying to perfect their technology within it. So this is Micah 2:10. It says, arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. It will destroy you even with a sword destruction. And that's where we getting into. Matter of fact, I want to see what that word polluted says. It's this is not our rest. You know, ultimately we gotta have a mentality that we're just passing through the spirit of YAHAWASHI. You know, we ain't meant to be setting up shop in this place. And what I mean is just having a 10, 15, 20-year plan to, you know, be ready to be getting comfortable here, really. It said hasten in a day, man. It's the Hebrew word thama'ah. It says, this is for the word polluted. It says to be unclean, become impure, right? That's what it says this place is. And it says to be or become unclean sexually, religiously, or ceremonially. To defile oneself, be defiled by idolatry, ceremonially, or sexually. And it's just pretty much becoming unclean amongst those three things, man. Defiling yourself. And that's exactly what happens within this place, man. All right, because everything is polluted. They sneak pork into foods. They, you know, everything is sexualized, or it's, you know, alphabet community lies. All right. It's out of order. Women over men, children over parents. Okay, it's divided. Everything. Okay, so that's why we gotta. It said, "Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest." We gotta get our mind out of this place, because there ain't no coming back from what the society has done to this place. It's over. The only option is a reset button, which the first reset button was the flood, the first death. The second death is the reset button, which is the fire, man. Okay, judgment by fire. All right, and we'll end it on this. Proverbs 22:2, Salakia 29:2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. Right, and that's why you see more and more people coming up with these videos, being stressed out. That's why these people are working and they all burnt out, because they ain't getting the proper rest. They got to get off work. They got to work all day. Then they got to wait a week or two till they get their money. The scriptures say we're supposed to get paid before the sun go down. You know how much better that'd be doing? Every day I work, I got money. You know, and you'll be forced to save, so to put you in a form of money management. No, but Esau wants everything the Most High is set up. He wants to take out the natural balance of things, man. That's how this guy rolled. That's how the devil does. Take everything out of order, make it chaotic. That's organized to him. Chaos is, ooh, that's a nice title. Chaos is I got to come up with a title for it. Chaos is organized to Esau. You know, dang. Well, his order out of chaos. It says order out of chaos. You know, that's part of his MO. All right, creating a situation to be so chaotic that you're forced to, that he forces himself to bring order to that situation. Yep. So, hey, the only order that's going to come from this chaos is the judgment of YAHAWASHI. When the Heavenly Father send his son back and them angels, and they come and judge this place and deliver the elect, and then, hey, well, we'll get it on that, man. We'll end it on that. This is 2 Ezra chapter 6, verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So that's what we coming into, man, right there. Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. All right. So Esau is the end of this world, this society, this heaven, and this earth, and meaning this dominion. And there's going to be a new heaven and a new earth. All right. New Jerusalem coming down. Okay. Being the first fruits. All right. And then going to establish righteousness throughout the earth, not just on the earth, but throughout the earth, man, everywhere. All right. Not just on in the, because the kingdom of heaven is going to be on earth. Okay. And it's not just going to be in that city and then the rest of the world is doing what they want to. Nah, throughout the earth. Okay. Hey, so with that, Lord willing, you was edified, and Lord willing, we allowed to endure unto the end. Once again, I want to give all praises unto Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH, Shalom.